All right, so quick summary of what we're going to do in today's tutorial. So, want to know how to do health? Easy. Go into this volume, you can see we're going to start taking damage. We can see it reading everything out. Boom, easy, done. We go inside here and we start healing ourselves. Perfect. I'm going to show you guys how to do all of that. The UI, the actual healing, everything, and also going to do it in an optimized version and an unoptimized quick and dirty version, just so you guys can see how to do it. All right, let's get into it. So we could end up doing our health system one of a number of ways for actually adding the health. One way would be we already have this damage function. What we could do is say that if the damage is actually less than 0, then we send it to the healing function. And that would just look like, hey, we have the apply damage thing. Let's just go ahead and do -20. That wouldn't be entirely hard to set up, but to start off, I'm not going to do that. What we're going to do is actually take the onTake any damage function that we created from the last tutorial, and we're going to call this onTake any healing instead. And then we're going to rename some of these parameters. We're going to call this the healed actor, just so these make more sense. Healing, yay. We're going to call the damage type instead the heal type. Healy type, great. And say goodbye, that makes sense. We'll call this the health causer. Boom. We've renamed all of these parameters. And as soon as we compile this, this should get a little mad at us. Yeah, there we go. Because all of these variables no longer exist in the way that they were named. Because these were the variables referenced by the parameter. But they don't exist anymore and they didn't get renamed when we did that. So let's just go ahead and type get healing. Great. Boom. We're going to go ahead and call this instead. Because just like with our damage, we want to make sure that we're not passing in a non-negative number. We want to make sure that this value is greater than 0. This is not going to be a minus. Or is this going to be damage? We'll just go ahead and copy this variable because we're going to use it in a couple places. So what we'll do is do health plus healing. Going to want to make sure that we're actually adding to it. Want to make sure that health plus healing. Let's clamp that value. Great. And then we'll go ahead and delete this. Boom. Health. The actual name of that variable doesn't matter, but we'll go ahead and change it to healing instead, just so that it makes sense reading it. So I'm just taking health. We should change this one too to be healing amount. Great. And then we'll go ahead and break this pin because we don't want to do anything with this right now. But say you wanted to play some sort of effect when you're at full health. This is when you would do that. So that's cool. So I guess one thing that we could do, we have T. Let's go ahead and just go ahead and copy and paste. Control C, Control V. Let's go ahead and hit G. I'm gonna go ahead and drop in a input. And what we're gonna do right now, we already have applying damage. We have the we have this printing out. I'm gonna go ahead and actually put this back to +20. But yeah, we're printing out the amount of damage that we're taking. We want to go ahead and print out the amount of health that we're also gaining. So let's go ahead and do that real quick as well. We'll do onTake any healing. We'll call that great. We'll pass in 20 here as well. Sorry about the buzz. I don't know if you heard that. That was my phone. Great. So this will use the gameplay statics functionality and it will apply the damage, and then when we press G we should apply healing, and these should both print off. I don't think we're saying how much we have total. No, we don't. So we don't really have any way to know that currently, but we're going to go ahead and get to that later. So we've taken 20 damage, another 20 damage, but now we press this button, G, we're taking healing. Yay! This should stop. All right, we're not saying that if we have equal to max health that we can't apply health. So let's go ahead and just we'll set that up real quick. You may not care about it, but we're going to go ahead and do that because it's just not quite necessary. So let's just go ahead and do, and we'll just go ahead and get our health variable. We get max health. We'll make sure that our health is actually, health is less than max health. Oh, no, we specifically want less than, because if we're at 100 and we're always clumping at 100 or whatever our max health tends to be for that character, then we will just always be able to take health. Great. So this isn't immediately necessary, but this is something we're going to do. Great. So we're going to go ahead and there we go. We've taken a 20 damage. We'll take another 20. So now I should be able to press this. Boom, we get 20 back. Get another 20 back. And then, yep, there we go. I'm pressing the G key to try and heal myself, but it's not running. Great. So we can tell that our healing system is working, but, how do I know that when I'm in game? I don't see anything, and that's kind of important. So we're gonna do a quick and dirty UI right off the bat, and I'm gonna show you real quick how I end up doing my user interface. So actually, let's go ahead and set this up with good project hierarchy as well. So we're gonna go to our content folder. I'm gonna go ahead and create a new folder. We're gonna call this user interface. Great, and then we're gonna go ahead and do one in game, and HUD. This is great. A lot of useless folders for right now, but I promise if you use this structure in an actual project, it'll make sense. So we're going to go ahead and do WPP underscore HUD. This is great. I'm going to go ahead and save that, and then I'm going to go ahead and create another widget blueprint. We're going to call this WPP underscore health bar. Perfect. And let's see. I'm going to be spawning this on the character for now. This is not really the way that you want to do it, but it's the way that we're going to do it. Do we use any of this? No, we don't. Let's goodbye your generic first-person controller code that we're not using. So generally, you don't want to spawn your user interface on your character itself. This is not a good practice, but we're going to do it right now just because it's not going to hurt what we're doing. Wait, this is not construct widget, this is create widget. There we go, good. Add to viewport, great. And hey, let me show you guys a little handy trick right here. So I'm going to click back to here. We're going to select our WPP underscore HUD, and then I'm going to click on this hidden little arrow, and boom, it fills in. It's great. Perfect. Is this gonna? No, it's a player controller. Actually, no. We'll do this. Get controller. Great, and then we're gonna go do cast to player controller because this requires a player controller type reference. And really what casting does is it says, hey, is this thing, the object reference, is this equal to what we're trying to get? And if it is, we have the option of doing a pure cast or an impure cast, and this will fire off execution pins versus like, hey, this means that if the object passed in is equal to the player controller in this instance type, then we'll go ahead and fire off the true. If the cast is not true, that means that our controller is not of type player controller. And it will fire off false. In this instance, it's going to fire off true. I know it's going to fire off true. I feel kind of dirty for doing it this way, but we're going to use the impure cast. And this isn't immediately necessary, but actually plugging in the owning player controller, but I'm going to go ahead and do it anyways. So we're going to go ahead and open up our WPP underscore HUD. And what I do for these is this is always just going to be the container for our UI. This serves almost no other function other than just holding everything. If you want to do some like UI wide cosmetic effects, then you'll do that. So for instance, in a side project that I'd worked on, I wanted to have a curved user interface. So I specifically used a retainer widget so I could use material magic to give myself a curved UI. Why am I telling you this? Not because I'm going to go into it in this video, but so you know what to look for should you want to do that on your own. So First thing we're going to do, we're going to go back to our designer tab. We're going to go ahead and add in our health bar right now. So WBP underscore health bar, just type that up in the palette section. And this is going to be completely empty right now. We're not going to be able to see anything, but I'm going to go ahead and place it where I want to place it right off the bat. Great. We're going to go ahead and set the alignment to be 0.5 and the UI to be 1, which puts it, puts it above here. And then I'm going to go ahead and move this up a little bit and then click size to content. And that's pretty much all we're going to really need to do for here, but I'll show you what this looks like in a second. We're going to actually delete our canvas panel because we're not going to need that anymore. We're going to make the widget the size of the widget. We're not going to throw it around the canvas panel wantonly. So I like doing this workflow. We're going to use a size box. It's great. And then I'm just going to use a progress bar for now. I'm going to throw this in here and I'm going to call this health bar. Cool. The size bar, we're going to set the width and the height. I like using a width of about 300 and then a height of about 50. We're going to do, now we can see we put in this width and height override. We compile the blueprint, but we don't see anything happening here. That's kind of weird. In order to actually see these sizes reflected on screen, you have to click on the fill screen up top right over here and then click desired and then, whoa, hello. 3005, we added an extra number. That's not what we want. Boom, there we go. 300 by 50, perfect. Now this is looking kind of ugly, let's be honest. So not to hurt its feelings, but we're going to make it look not ugly. So by standard, I always see this blue and gray, but we don't want to do that. Normal conventions for health is going to be red and green. So our fill image, I believe this one should be green. Yes, this is going to be the green to indicate a healthy status. It's not going to let me get the bright green, is it? No, I don't think so. I think this is closest that we're going to get. We're going to use our background image. It's going to be just straight up red. If you want to get fancy, you could throw some opacity on there. I'm not concerned with that, but whatever. Great. So now we go in game and we have a health bar. It exists. It's working, but it clearly does not represent the amount of health that we have on our player currently. So the quick and dirty way to get this working, we're going to go ahead and I'm not going to use these right away. What we're going to do is get owning player pawn. And this will get the pawn that is owning our user interface. And what we're going to do is get component by class. Boom, we want this one. And then we're going to do health comp, BP underscore health comp. Great. And then I like to promote this to a variable. So we're going to go ahead and do this. And we're going to type health comp. Great. Now we have a reference to it. Perfect. So now we can start getting variables like our health from here. So the next thing that we're going to do is go to our designer tab again so we can start messing with some things. We're going to close the style. Now we have our percent here. Great. This is how full our progress bar is. And we have this curious little button over here called binding. We're going to use that real quick. No, we're not going to do that. We're going to do create binding. Great. And this is a percent value. So 0 to 1 is going to range to our health bar. 0 to 1 corresponds to percent values. So a 0.2 is going to be 20% of our health. So I really hate the way this is labeled. So we're going to get call this health percent binding. Perfect. And then I'm going to drag off our health comp. Perfect. And we're going to do get health. And then we're also going to drag off get max health. Why not just do health divided by 100 or whatever so we can normalize the value or make it from 0 to 1? Because what if our max health is 150 for a specific character? We don't want to hard code those values. We want to make it dynamically change based off of our needs. So we're going to do divided by float divided by float. This is going to be health divided by max health. And we're going to plug this in. And then health binding basically runs on tick every frame. So it works. I press T, I take damage, I press it again, I keep taking damage and I can heal, and it works. You may notice I'm not very excited when I say that it works. That's because this is not necessarily immediately the most optimal way to do things. So I'm going to go ahead and introduce you guys to a little bit more advanced concept. Now, if you're satisfied with what you've got and this is all you want, you can go ahead and click off. But if you want to learn more, we're going to learn some more. So first thing we're going to do is create an event dispatcher. And now this is called event-driven design. So this is going to be tick basically happens every frame, and so do those bindings. But we're not taking damage every frame. We don't need to update our UI every frame. That's unneeded. So what if instead we say, hey, update health when, I don't know, we take damage? How about that? Let's do that. So we're gonna call this on. Oh, hello, thank you. Auto save. Not what I wanted. We're gonna go ahead and call this on damage taken. Great. And then there's this fancy little thing called copy signature from, and we're going to copy some function signatures. I believe, there we go. We're not healing one, so we'll do healing right off that. We're going to call this on take any healing. Perfect. Healing is the amount of healing that we're taking. I want to add some more parameters to this just so we don't have to do like anything in our on the code side to really emphasize more stuff. So we're going to do new parameter. I'm going to change this to be a float type, and we're going to call this health. And then I'm going to do another new parameter, and then it automatically makes it a float type because the last parameter we added was float type. We're going to call this max health. Done. And all right, let's rename this because we're working the health one. We're going to call this on health taken. Perfect. Boom, we're going to drop this in here, call, done. We do want to call this after our set, so we're receiving the new health information. So you get healed actor. We're just going to go ahead and plug all these things in. Get healing. Get heal type. Perfect. Thank you. Get instigated by. Get heal health causer. Great. Move you a little bit further up. This is not exactly how I want to organize my code, but that's fine. Get health. Oh, hello. Thank you. Get health. Great. I'm just going to drag this last one off from the panel because it's right over there. Also, if you want to do the fancy keyboard shortcuts like that, boom, it is just hold control and then drag out your variable, and then we'll do a get reference. If you want to do a set reference, all you have to do is alt drag. So get used to control and alt. Generally try and get used to keyboard shortcuts. They will save you a lot of time, and they're lovely. So we have the on health taken. Now we're going to go to our on taking damage, and we're going to extend this function here as well. And we're going to create a new event dispatcher, and this is going to be called on damage taken. Great. And then now we can actually copy the signature from our on take healing. At least I believe we should be able to. What do we call this? On health taken. No, it's not letting us do that. But I think what we can do. No, we can't. Whatever. We'll copy our signature from the on take any damage. Great. And then we just add the two parameters. Oh, hello, thank you. New parameter, float, health. Max health. We could just generically create one called like on health modified, but whatever. Sometimes you specifically want to do different UI events based off of what is happening. So for instance, what if we take damage? Then we might want to flash a red health flash across the screen. But you know, if you pick up a health pack, you don't want to do the red flash. That's gross. Oh, compile. This is probably going to throw off an error. So then we just refresh nodes. There you go. Perfect. I'm not going to go through all that hassle again. What we're going to do is just drag off our health and max health because that's all we're using for the purposes of this tutorial. Great. So now we have these two events. They're lovely. They're perfect. I'm going to go ahead and go to the designer tab on our widget, and then I'm going to remove the binding so it's no longer bound to that. The binding is still here. It still exists inside our function list, but you'll notice if we go into play, boom, red bar again. We're clearly not starting at half health, but it shows that. But we're doing this for the purposes of showing off how the bindings are used. So we are getting our reference right here. Now we have those two event dispatchers that we set up. So we're going to do bind event 2 on damage taken. Great. And I'm going to do create event. Perfect. And then create a matching event. And we're going to call this on damage modified. Perfect. And now because the two function signatures are functionally the same, what we can do is bind event to on health taken. We should be able to use the exact same custom event here, which is why I labeled it on damage modified instead of on damage taken. So create event, boom, to on damage modified. There we go. And this should throw no issues. Perfect. And now what we're going to do, we have our health and we have our max health. So why am I doing this? I don't need to do that. Divisor, boom, health divided by max health. Great. Then we get our percentage here. Then we have our health bar variable over here. If you don't see this, which you should, just make sure that the is variable is ticked there, but it should just always automatically be ticked. We're going to do set percent. Great. Also, if you're not seeing those targeted suggestions, what you do in order to get the, like if I type set percent right now, it's not going to show anything up. The reason why I'm getting things to show up, in case you guys are not running into that, is I'm like clicking and dragging and then right clicking, and then now it says actions taking a progress bar object reference. So this will show up things that are contextually relevant to our progress bar. So now if I type set percent, wow, we see that we have a progress bar type here, and then we have a set percent right here. Perfect. I see so many students or people who just generally uncheck context sensitive, and that's how they get all their things. So now if we type set percent, it pops up, but that's because everything in Unreal will pop up regarding this. So like I could start modifying properties of the engine content sky sphere here if I wanted to. Do I have access to that? Not here. No, I don't. But I could start messing with those parameters, but that's gross. So here's where a lot of people usually leave this. They'll set everything up right here, handy dandy. It looks like it's fine, but it's not quite fine yet, and I'll show you why. So we press play. Oh, hey, look at that. We see our health bar, but it's still halfway set. But now the moment we take damage, it fills up a little bit. Why is that? Because we weren't inherently setting all the variables and begin play. So event construct is basically begin play. So we're gonna do some stuff here. We're gonna call our damage modified. There we go. Perfect. And I'm gonna do get health. Actually, hold up. Let me be smart about this. Perfect. Just gonna copy where it makes sense. Great. And because I don't have anything else set up here and I can't really do anything here at all, we're going to just punch those two variables in, and now they're good. Great. So we're calling this off of begin play, which now, wow, our health bar is completely full. And this is a generally more optimized way of doing this, because we're not going to be running we're not running this every frame. We're only running the event when it gets called. And to illustrate exactly what's happening here, I'm going to go ahead and break the connection here. We're going to go back into our binding, and I'm going to do a print string, and we're simply going to print out the value of our health. I'm not going to make any changes there just to emphasize what's going on. But side note, if you go to any duration in this engine and press 0, it will be a 1 frame delay. That's what I would have considered doing, but we're not going to do that. So, right, and we need to go to our designer tab, go to the binding, and we're going to do the health bar percent binding. Done. Press play, and now you're going to see it's occupying the entire screen, and we don't want that. That's gross. That means that it's basically running every frame, and that is not optimal. Whereas if we do this, oh, hello, not graph, event graph. If we do this here, and we drag this off here into our print string, there we go, boom, and we kill our binding once again. Compile, we're not using our binding. It's not running. See, it'll only run when we take our oh, hello, we forgot to connect things back up because I'm a smart cookie. There we go. All right, let's play again. Wow, now it runs and prints everything off, but it doesn't run at every frame, which means this is just an inherently more optimized system. All right, that is all I wanted to go over today. We can show that we have healing, we have damage, and all we're having to do to call our damage function is we're getting a reference to our component. Actually, let me show you guys real quick, just a little bit of a icing on the cake. How do we access our on take any healing function from another blueprint? Let's go ahead and create a little damage volume, a little volume that shows this off real quick. Let's go ahead and do a new damage volume. Actor, great, BP underscore health mod vol. Great. This is what we're going to call it. For the purposes of this, oh god, I'm going to do gross code. Please don't look at me. I'm not a fan of this. Box collision. Great. 200, 200, 200. Line thickness, we're going to do 5. We're going to uncheck hidden in game because we want to see where this is. Overlap only pawn. Perfect. Get overlapping actors for each loop. Great. It's valid because I'm a stickler for code that works. Get component by class, health comp. Perfect. I'm going to do another is valid because got to make sure we're not getting any errors. Otherwise, code's going to be sad, and we don't want that to happen. Then we're going to do on take any healing. Perfect. And then get world delta seconds times float 10. So if my math is correct, this should be like 10 damage a second. So that's great. And of course we hook this up. Perfect. So we're getting actors that are inside this box, this little box that we've got going on here. Here, let's see. Nope, did my math wrong. Great. So any characters or actors that are inside the box, pawns specifically that are inside our box, we're going to check to make sure we have a valid pawn. Then we're going to check for the health comp, make sure it's accurate, it's valid. Then we're going to call our on take any healing function. Perfect. Compile that. Boom. Drag this bad boy off here, and then also just so we take some damage, we're going to call the pain causing volume. And this one only works because we're using our on take any damage function to apply damage, but we're not doing that for our healing function. So we're not going to get healed if we set this to be a negative value. That's not going to work. So we can't take healing unless we take some damage. So boom. Am I in it? Yeah, there we go. It's super slow. But when we walk in here, yay, we're healing. Let's hold up. Let's make this a little bit more noticeable. Oh man, I can't see my cursor. It's bad. There you go. All right, so damage per second, boom. Interval, 0.016. It's roughly 1/60th of a second. So if you're running at 60 frames per second, this is the mathematical time that it takes for one frame. Why do I know that? Because I'm silly. That's why. Don't ask too many questions. So there we go. We can see our health ticking away at a rate of 10 per second. We don't want to die. Now we're seeing it tick up at a rate of 10 per second. Perfect. And of course you can see it basically ticking our health over there because we're running this on tick. So that's perfect. All right. That is literally everything that I could have wanted to show you guys for today. If you have any further tutorials that you would like to see, let me know. I will do them. Yep. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Bye.